Hello, lovely listeners, and good morning, Kim.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everyone. Whew. Um, ah, Kim and Jill, one harmonical. I had a brain fart
Yeah.
there. It was like, wait, where are we at? What are we doing? Oh, yeah. And we're being present. Oh, my
Here we
goodness.
are.
Yep. Ah,
Oh, I think
so,
we were ready to jump into the message, though, too. We're like all excited to jump in and go, oh, what are we talking
yeah.
about today?
Ah, um, we were talking about how, like, we actually had some fun in our lives this weekend that maybe in the past wouldn't have been described as fun, but it was very entertaining. And yeah, it's like, okay, I don't even know where to begin with this one because I'm like all of a sudden I'm getting too heady.
I called it a different kind of fun. It was just a
Yes.
different kind of fun. Because Kim, when we got on the call, before we hit record, Kim asked me, she said, I think you said, did you have a fun weekend?
Yeah.
It wasn't a good one. You said, did you have a fun weekend? And I was like, well, yes, as I define fun.
Yeah.
And and what I'll share with the listeners is with our listeners is that years ago I actually would have called what I did one of the parts of my weekend, what I did would have been called yard work.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go do yard work. And it literally had zero of that in it. There was no vibration of yard work whatsoever in it. It was total like flower play. Everything about it was play. I did not care about the outcome. I didn't care what I got done. I just was like enjoying doing what I wanted to do next. I floated from this to this to this to this, and it's what I
Yeah.
needed because it grounded me, it calmed me. Like that's the kind of fun I needed. That was a different kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And now that you say that, there's different experiences that I went through over the weekend that is literally the same thing. Like I had did dishes, and normally that would have been like, oh, I have to do dishes. And I was like, "Well, okay, I'm just doing dishes." And the one thing I did different, and I was outside doing a lot of stuff too, was normally I would listen to, say, different types of music, rap, heavy metal, hip hop, you know, all the
Yeah,
fun stuff that's like,
but
that,
different, but your usual. Different
yes,
genres mixed
yes,
together, but also at the same time
my
Kim's
usual.
usual, right? Okay. Yeah.
And it's more that like upbeat, like, yeah, let's go. Like, you pound it in, you work really hard, that type of like getting the rush in your body. Okay.
Yeah.
And this time the music kind of went through and then it turned into some really cool, more single acoustic type somebody singing. It just randomly started playing these songs, and it was more of a country type vibe, which I grew up with country music. I still like country music, just not my main go-to. Uh, but it wasn't the standard country music that you would hear on the radio. Like these weren't any songs I've heard on the radio before, and it was very entertaining, but yet super calm. I didn't know the words, so I couldn't like sit there and sing along, but yet it was a nice, super cool vibe that was playing in the background, that everything that I was doing, it just made everything flow. And there wasn't judgment, there wasn't this like, oh, I gotta get this done. Oh, like you're pumping through things just to do it because it was work. I changed, like energetically, something happened to my Spotify and it changed the music that I needed, and I went with it
Yeah.
and I let it play.
Yeah. And it got into that flow. That's a beautiful word. Now, right before we got on the call, Kim, you were going to talk about dopamine. And I cut you off. I said, oh, no, I want that on the recording because you talked about the experience of getting a dopamine hit and then how people are doing things differently. Can you describe a little bit about dopamine before we go to, just so anyone who's listening who's like, I know the word, but what do you mean dopamine hit?
So when you turn on, this is the best way I could describe it, when you turn on your phone and you go on Facebook, or you go on some social media, it stimulates a dopamine rush in your body as an excitement. Like, you're just waiting for something to happen. You don't have the adrenaline completely rushing. It's like oh, oh, that's happening. Oh, that's happening. Oh, and it's like, it stimulates basically a rush in your body to like, okay, where we're going to go with this. Dopamine can actually be a really good, it's basically excitement. That's the best way I could describe it. It's like you get all of a sudden excited. And, so what's happening a lot is we're overly stimulated. So this dopamine that used to come in the past as to like, oh, I get to go to a concert. And it's like you get this like rush of like surge of energy, like, oh yeah, I get to go, and excitement. That's like dopamine also going into your system. And here it's all the time. We get this dopamine rush like constantly, and it almost diminishes the excitement effect.
Mm-hmm.
You almost get bored with having dopamine in your body.
Yep.
And so we're utilizing it in the wrong way, but when you have it where there's a balance, again, where you get off social media, where you get out of the constant overstimuli, and then you're, say, out in nature, and things just like flow, there's a beautiful balance that comes back where all of a sudden that excitement, like somebody says, oh, their concert, and you're like, oh yeah, that'd be super cool, like, yeah. Or all of a sudden you haven't been on a phone for a long time, and all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, whoa. TVs do the same thing. They
TVs
create
do.
like this like rush almost, and you get an addiction to that dopamine. So a lot of times addictions are related to dopamine also.
Yeah, and that's where we were saying a different kind of fun. It's like we were, even before we hit record, we were talking a little bit about, is this because we're old? And then we started reflecting on the young people in our lives, and we're like, they just don't, as it should be. They don't behave, I'm going to air quote that, the same way
Yep.
we did when we were younger. They're not seeking out that big next excitement thing as much as they seem to seek out a more like a calm, quiet, kind of disconnect space for a little
Yep.
while. And it's because of that shift in like the life experience now, is that we do have so much excitement, if you want to call it that, or dopamine, hitting us all day long. That, yeah, we kind of become numb to it. And we actually need, I just get almost like so lightheaded. It's like we really need that contrast to it. We need the excitement turned on. We also need it. We need it shut off where we're in that calm. And that's where we were saying our different kind of fun this weekend, Kim. They were very
Yep.
calming, flowing activities that brought us back into that wholeness, back into that balance.
Yep. Yep. My music kind of can really create a dopamine rush, if you want to call it, my normal music.
Yeah.
But it shifted into something that didn't do that. It literally was more calm. It wasn't listening to gongs or anything like that. It wasn't the standard, like I said, what I call hip hop country music. It was just super chill.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, everything just flowed. The work, I'm going to air quote work, that was being done wasn't work.
Yep.
That's how we rewrite stories, how we bring ourselves back to that wholeness.
Yep.
It's really cool.
It is. And I think, like, to me, one of the last things that's really coming to me about this is how wonderful it was that these things just showed up for us, Kim. And I'm hoping that as everyone's listening to this right now, you're starting to see and identify how that happened to you too. Even if it's the smallest little thing, like you said, Kim, that moment of doing dishes, and in reflection realizing, that wasn't work. I was just with that, like in a flow, like nothing changed outside, but like everything inside of you changed. The way that you were experiencing that, it went from that work to just flow, to just like, wow.
It's when you were outside and you just went with it. You didn't care
Yeah.
how much you got done. You just were in with it and you listened to what the basically the environment around you was asking for.
Yep. Yep. I had a lot of stuff for me. Very calming is to be outside and touch the earth and work the earth or do something with flowers
Yeah.
and that's what I did because I just could feel that. I just knew I needed that balance. But I don't go in with I got to get this done. And, it's no longer that energy that let's get this done. Let's have this like just being with it and going, all right, this is what's next. This is then this, then this. And it's so rebalancing. It does. It just brings you back into this sense of wholeness. And then like if the work comes up, it's no big deal. You just do the work and it doesn't even feel like work.
Yep. Ooh,
A different kind of fun.
yep. Yeah. I just got very calm. Very calm.
Yeah.
Ah, like everything in my body's just lovely, nice tingle.
Yep.
Even if you were still in that state of that rush feeling or the work feeling, just sit with your eyes closed and listen to this again and just feel your energy calming down.
Yep.
Just take a moment just to listen with your eyes closed. You don't have to listen to the words, just listen to the vibration.
Yep.
It's there.
It is. It's rebalancing. It's a beautiful, beautiful, like you said, almost like a hum. It's just so soothing.
Ooh. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you,
Ah,
Jill. Thank you, everyone.
yes. Thank you, Kim. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Until next time.